Author's House.
This is Jacob from Authors Press, and we are gathered here for your masterpiece. So today is February 28, 2024, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And to formally start the interview, I just want to know, tell us about yourself and what inspired you to write the book, Gabe.
Called Jesse, and it's pertaining to, it's a Christian book, but not for a Christian audience. And so Gabe is like that too. It's a biblical-based book, but not for a Christian audience. That's my genre, so to speak. And what inspired me to write Gabe was a verse in the Bible I came across, actually a chapter 6 of Genesis, and talks about, and there were giants on the earth in those days and after that. Heroes of old, men of renown, mighty men. And I often wondered who they were and how they came to be and so on and so forth. And that's what inspired me to write Gabe.
Perfect. Okay. Glen, without spoiling, can you give us a brief overview of what the book Gabe is all about?
Well, it's about this couple who were trying to have a baby. And the male, the husband, was not real big in stature. And he wanted his son to be bigger than him. And though he's not a praying man, he prayed one day that his son would be big in the world. And that's exactly what happened. They had what the Bible calls a Nephlim. And Nephlim were these creatures, these mighty men that were born of, it says in the Bible that when the sons of God came to earth and mated with the daughters of men, that's what produced these giants. And Gabe is about this ordinary couple who happened to have a Nephlim child. He was gigantic. And I'm not talking about just a big baby or would have been a big man. I'm talking about gigantic beyond, belief. And it's about the struggles that these parents have of coping with this very, very unusual child in today's society. And that's what it's about.
Perfect. I will also want to know what motivates you to explore the theme of ancient biblical creatures in a modern setting.
Well, just the curiosity of what would happen. What if an ancient creature were to be born today? What would happen? Could it possibly be accepted? And that's the themes of this book. It deals with sometimes you can be so unusual. A lot of books are based on acceptance. A character will be unusual, very unusual, but somehow they try to become accepted in society. But what would happen if there was no way that character could be accepted? I mean, if you were going to be 15 feet tall and solid muscle and 10 times smarter than an average person, there's no way that you could be accepted. No way. And that's the themes of this book. What would parents do to cope with something like that? What lengths would they go through to escape? What would you do if you were a parent and you had a creature like that as a son? Mm-hmm. What depths would you go to? Would you turn them over to authorities? Mm-hmm. Or let some hospital or institution deal with it? Or would you run and try to get away from society? In the book, the couple run and try to get away.
So that's a very good question that actually needs immediate action with regards to the readers, of course. So how did you how did you research and develop the character of Gabe, the Nephlim, in your book?
Well, like I said, that passage in the Bible about, and there were giants on the earth in those days, has always fascinated me. What exactly did they mean? Literally giants? As I researched it, I found out, yes, these Nephilim were real giants. Not just large men, but real giants. 15 feet tall and all muscle with zero body fat and 10 times the intelligence of regular people. So, and I researched it with another book that was supposed to be in the Bible called Enoch, the book of Enoch, but it didn't make the canon, the biblical canon, so it was not included in the Bible. And I used a lot of research I got out of that book to characterize these Nephilim.
Okay. So, can you share any personal experiences or struggles that influenced the writing of Gabe?
Well, I think everybody has experienced trying to fit in. We all have done that. And at some point in time, we've all had, just about everybody has felt like they didn't fit in at a certain place or so forth. But what would happen if you couldn't possibly fit in? There was no way. What would happen then, you see? What would an average person do if they had a child like this? And so forth. And I got to thinking, what would I do? What would anybody do? Trying to cope with this. So that's what I based this book on, the coping mechanisms that we would all do.
Okay. Yeah. So, is there any challenges did you face while writing a story that combines elements of supernatural beings with real-world issues?
Well, other than what I said, just the dichotomy of how would a society accept someone that they could not cope with. I mean, like I said, we all could, we've all seen tall, big people before, and they didn't fit in exactly, but we could cope with them. But what would happen if you saw something so unusual that you couldn't cope with it? Not possible. In today's society, if a Nephilim were to appear, we could not cope with that. We couldn't relate, and what would we do? I feel like, as a society, if you can't accept, if there's something so unusual, you can't accept it. In today's world, we would try to destroy it.
Yeah. So, this is one of the questions that I really want to answer from you, Glen, that definitely would like your readers will know the answer to. So, how do you believe readers will connect with the character of Gabe and his journey in the book?
Well, like I said, who hasn't felt like they didn't fit in? At some point, probably all of us have. We were at a location or an event, and we felt like we just didn't fit in there. But what if you were so unusual that there was no way, no way that you could fit in, no matter what, and the struggles that the parents would have trying to cope with this, and so forth. And also, part of the book deals with the Nephlim games. The Nephlim there were several of them. And they ruled the world, completely dominating mere mortals in every way. The problem is they were all male, and there was only one female. And the part 2 of the book deals with the Nephlim games, where these creatures would play these games and battle each other to win the rights for the female. That's part 2 of the book. And the way that came about is that when the couple moved to an Indian reservation, a Native American reservation in South Dakota, to get away from society, get away from people, gawkers and people that were trying to just get a look at this child, one of the elders there recognized what he was and sent for a book that explains what the Nephlim were, and he narrates this book, and that's part 2 of the Nephlim games, where they did battle for the rights of a female.
Okay. So, Glenn, what is, do you have any favorite part of your book that your reader will actually look on it?
Well, a favorite part, I think, that's a good question. I think the favorite part of the book is when this character, the husband's wife, became pregnant, and they were so happy. But then shortly after, things started to go terribly wrong. The infant, the fetus, started growing exponentially, and they done everything they could. They were bumfuzzled as to what was happening, and so were all the doctors. And I think that's probably my favorite part of the book, is the pregnancy. And back in the biblical times, when these fallen angels, or the sons of God, mated with these daughters of man, these infants were so big they weren't born. They literally bursted through the mother's stomach and came working their way out of the stomach of the mother and killing her in the process of being born. But today we have C-sections and so on and so forth. So this baby was viable and had a C-section, was alive, and so was the mother. And I think that's probably my favorite part of the book was the pregnancy of this mother.
Okay, that's very exciting. So, this is something that I really want to know too. So, what message or takeaway do you hope readers will have after reading Gabe?
What message? I think, what as a parent, what would you do if your child wasn't normal? What would you do? I would imagine that most of us would do just what the parents in Gabe did. They'll go to extraordinary lengths to protect their child, no matter how unusual he is. You just don't give up on them.
Exactly. And how does the setting of present-day America enhance the narrative of Gabe and its impact on the story?
Well, today is all about acceptance.
Right.
We try to accept different lifestyles and so on and so forth. It's very big in the country today, acceptance. We have to accept people as they are. But even today's society, there's no way they would ever accept a Nephlim. Ever. I don't care what. Even in today's world, it would not be accepted the way he is. So how would society cope with something that's unacceptable, you know? And that is a theme of the book.
And could you please invite our readers to get a copy of your masterpiece, Glen? Please do.
Well, they can order a copy from wherever books are sold. Amazon and Books A Million and Barnes and Noble and so forth. They can get copies there. They're for sale, and they're cheap. It's cheap. It's only $11.99. A bargain.
Are you excited, Glenn, for this?
I am. What makes me excited is that Authors Press called me first to do a movie book trailer about my book, Jesse. And I got to thinking about it, and I thought, well, Gabe would actually make a better movie about these giant creatures and society trying to cope with them than the book Jesse would. So Authors Press is making a movie book trailer, and I'm hoping that some movie company will take note of it and possibly want to make a movie about this creature, Gabe. That's what I would hope.
That's interesting. Looking forward for that too, Glen. So speaking of your experience with Authors Press, how was your experience actually working with them?
Well, it's been positive. Like I said, I'm excited to see the movie book trailer. I know it's not going to be a movie trailer like they make previews of movies, and I'm curious as to how they're going to do this. But I'm also excited about it, and I like my prospects of possibly having this book made into a movie and maybe generating some curiosity and getting some book sales. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah, and we are very excited for this masterpiece of yours, Glen, Gabe. And I know that most of our, or all of our readers were really excited to get a copy of this. And you mentioned that it is also available in Amazon. So, and also, we are also excited for the opportunity to make it into a movie. So again, this is Jacob John from Authors Press. And here with me is Glen Allen. Thank you so much for this opportunity to have this interview with you. And we are all excited and looking forward to get a copy of this masterpiece.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Glen. Have a nice day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Authors Press.